Maybe we can be friends when you're not so fragile. When you know yourself well, somewhere down the sweet line. When I do things for me, 'cause I don't wanna be a therapy, I wanna be free. So, ooh, gotta go and grab a spoon now. Ooh, make a life for myself. Ooh, I don't know what I'ma do now. Ooh, but I don't need your help. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. Don't make me just stay, to stay. I'm done being stuck. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. The last thing I will ever do for you is wish you the best of luck. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, I know, you know, it's time you let me go. Don't call, don't follow, 'cause I'll do fine on my own. I know, you know, it's time I'll let you go. Don't call, don't follow, 'cause I'll be gone. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. Don't make me just stay, to stay. I'm done being stuck. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. The last thing I will ever do for you is wish you the best of luck. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Get out of my way, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Get out of my way.
I just had to put, is it September 12th?
13th, sir.
Oh God, I'm the wrong date. 13th?
Yes, sir.
You sound 12 earlier.
Where did I go to? I was something 10. Oh God, I hate this.
Oh, look, it's going everywhere. Hang on. It's only English.
Where is that?
Oh, look, it's everywhere.
Can't bear this bloody thing. What do they do? Everyone's stinking.
Hey, hey, hey. How is everyone? Happy Friday. How's everyone this Friday? Welcome to the chat. I'm actually going to change the title. The title that is up is not going to be the subject matter of today. I have changed my mind. We are still doing live calls, but it's just going to be like more of a weekly roundup and just some other things that have come through. So we're not going to be talking about has the British monarchy lost its mystique, unless you want to comment about that in your call-in. You're more than free to. That's going to be a topical discussion another time. But welcome to the chat, everyone. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button if you haven't already. Right, let's see who's here. Everyone can hear me, right? One in the chat if you can hear me. Let me just open up the chat on my phone. One in the chat, you can all hear me, yes? Yay! Thank you so much, Julia. And right. Right, hello Valerie, happy Friday. How was Dubai, Valerie? Hi Janet, hi Mina. Hello to the moderators. Rohini, yes, did everyone listen to the podcast? If you have not listened to Archetypes, please go do. My favorite episode so far. You know what I haven't been feeling? The Crown. I still have not watched the last episode of The Crown. That's how unmotivated I have been. This whole series has been a complete disappointment. Thank you, Annie. I'm glad you like the music. Hi, CCQ, educate you. Hey, hey. Oh, let me put the link to the chat if y'all want to join. Give me a second. Right, here is the link. Want to join the live chat? Don't be shy, everyone. And let's remember to encourage everyone when they come up and talk. And please don't make any rude comments about the way people talk. Because, like I said in the last podcast, you never really know, what someone could be dealing with or going through. So please let's support everyone. Thank you, Rohini. Yes, thumbs up. And let me just pin that to the chat. Hey, Karen M. Hey, Victoria. Hey, Joan. Hi, Lightside. Joe Vlogs. Hey, hey. Irene Gomez. Hi, NOBD. Oh, you enjoyed your trip, Valerie. Fantastic. Irene said that Archetypes this week was the best episode so far. She keeps getting better and better every week. Yes. And I'm so glad that they managed to get the Iranian actress and activist in as well. Very important. Rohini, yeah, the crown is a big poop. Yeah, they really did not do any of Diana's activism any justice. I mean, having said that, there is a whole other series left to come, but there's still a lot that Diana was doing during that time. And it's like they made a big hoo-ha about the Prince's Trust, but not about Diana's activism. And if you actually watch that HBO documentary where they took all the archival footage, this is something that they focus on. And there's even like one part of it where there's a guy in India who's like, oh, the amount of money that we've raised, we wouldn't have been able to raise it without Diana. So I feel like they didn't really do her great justice, and I will get around to watching that final episode at some point. Anyway, oh gosh, do you know what happened on Wednesday, guys and dolls, when I went to judo? Personal life update. I have really done my knee in. So if anybody has any advice on how to get strength back in your knee, I think it's something to do with the muscle, like the bone feels a bit wobbly. Like it's not broken or anything, but it's just very, very weak. So if anyone has any advice on how I can strengthen my left knee before next week's classes, I will be highly appreciative of that. I'll probably wear like support tape just to help me. But yeah, I really did my knee in, and after like even just a warm up, I had to sit down and just watch the rest of the class. So very disappointed. Crotchet Queen, they better go all out for season 6. Yeah, they better go all out for season 6. Mrs. Esh, you're here enjoying Haagen-Dazs. You enjoy that Haagen-Dazs. What is it? Is it cookie chip? Chocolate? Thank you, Paul Charles. Alrighty. Okay, right. Before we get into royal news, I want to talk about something else very important first. Trigger warning, talk of abuse and assault, although I will not put any pictures up because I thought that this was really important, and it's just really been quite shocking. So sorry, just give me a sec, because I just want to make sure that I get all of this right. So sorry, give me a sec, folks. Right, so this young lady, this is a story that's been doing the rounds on social media. This young lady, Shanquella Robinson, she's a young African-American woman who went on holiday with a bunch of so-called friends And within 24 hours of her being there, she was dead. And footage has now emerged of one of those so-called friends basically beating her. She looks quite heavily intoxicated. She's not fighting back. And there's also other footage of someone else, a guy, trying to, explain away whatever part he did or didn't have in this case. Whatever happened, I'm hoping will come to light, and I'm hoping that the truth will come out. But initially, when this was reported, they put it down to alcohol poisoning. But now that there's footage of this young lady being beaten, there's more footage of her injuries coming out, broken spine, broken neck. It is disgusting that the authorities just tried to pass this off and pass this away as alcohol poisoning. And thankfully, because it has gone a bit viral online, it seems like the FBI are getting involved now, but it took for that to happen before they took it seriously. And I just want to say women in general, when you're traveling solo, please be careful. But she wasn't even solo. She was with a group of friends. She was with a group of or people who she thought were friends. Here are the perpetrators in question, and listen, I do absolutely believe in being a little elitist in how you pick your friends. I've seen videos of these individuals. They were clearly just toxic people. And one of the woman who's pictured on the right of Shanquella, that is the woman that was actually beating her in the video, and the guy on the other side is a guy who's actually released a video trying to explain away whatever part he did or didn't have in all of this. Sorry, I forget the woman's name who was beating on her, but the guy's name is Nazir Wiggins, and there are several women who have now come forward and said that he assaulted them. And so it seems like this is someone who could have been caught a lot sooner. Again, survivors not being believed. This is exactly why survivors don't come forward. But please do keep sharing this. Please do keep raising awareness about this. So often when these things happen to women, nobody cares, but more so when they happen to young Black women, nobody cares. And she was clearly a young lady who was doing things for herself. She had a successful hair business, and it just seems like everybody who has spoken about this girl has said nothing but great things, that she was a light in everybody's life. And it just seems like her friends, there were several others as well, wanted to take away her light. So please, Black women, please be careful about, you know, who you keep in your circle. Don't hang around low vibrational people who partake in low vibrational behaviors, and protect yourselves. And yes, let's please, if you live in the US, please do make some noise so that this young woman can get justice. Okay, I'll just take your comments before we move forward. Thank you everyone for complimenting my my judo pics. I was not feeling as fabulous as I was trying to look right there. Creative live, right? The friends say alcohol in Mexico. Yeah, Mexico says no foul play. Well, unfortunately, the police and the cartel, they do have links. So sometimes it's difficult because they protect each other. Joe Blogs, yes, initially they said that they had no jurisdiction in Mexico. So, you know, listen, the internet is being a better private investigator than the FBI. Because in 24 hours of this story going viral, they have the names of everyone, they have the addresses of everyone, and also the workplaces of everyone. And their workplaces are getting message the hell out of all over social media. So, you know, social media can sometimes be very cruel, but these are the times where it's done something good. Alrighty, on to royal news. Thank you everyone for being patient with that. Okay, let's start with let's go into some positive and funny things. Meghan's shoes for our fashion lovers. Yes, Megan Stewart Wiseman shoes are actually on sale. So if anybody would like to spend half of your rent money, I think they've gone from 450 to 300 and something. But I know that we do have some pretty well money squaddies. So if you wanted those beautiful shoes, they are on sale. And she wore them. That was the reception when they went to the Royal Albert Hall. And I think, where was that reception with that dress? Is that when they were in New Zealand? Is that when they met Jacinda Ardern? I think that's when they met Jacinda Ardern, right? Yes, Gwendolyn, absolutely gorgeous shoes. And they look very comfortable as well. Oh, thank you so much, Mrs. S. Thank you for your fearless reporting of facts. Well, sometimes we do have to come out of our royal bubble and, talk about other things that are important to highlight. So thank you all so much for listening. That's way too much money for me. Let's manifest the millions. $sign in the chat, please. Educate you. The internet investigators are showing these agencies that they're not doing their job properly. Exactly. Joan Commonwealth, I'll admire the shoes from a distance. My neck is important to me. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Ellen Venon. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Much appreciated. All right. On to the next thing. This just made me cackle and howl. So, Trisha, is it Trisha Paytas? She is a controversial YouTube figure whose baby was born around the same time that the Queen died. And everybody was making jokes at the time that Lizzie was basically reincarnated as Trisha's baby. And she made light of it. She said, trying to help her remember her past life in Buckingham Palace. And she even put in the TikTok the song Killer Queen as the music. Hardy ha ha ha. I thought that was hilarious. Also, in United Kingdom news, we got our autumn budget yesterday. And as predicted, a lot of austerity cuts and I think that this is going to put a greater emphasis on how much we are spending on the royals. And I didn't hear anything about the sovereign grants, or I haven't heard anything about it yet. Whether or not any money from the sovereign grant will be cut, it would be the right thing to do. And actually, I think that this is the time when they should actually come out and say, do you know what, we are going to take money away from the sovereign grant, or we are going to slowly start coming away from the taxpayers' purse string. This is the time that they can do that. But do you think they will? Probably not. It's left to be seen. But I haven't heard anything about the sovereign grant or how much is going to be, how much of the public purse strings budget is going to be put towards that. But a lot of despair over this because a lot of people are going to suffer. I was watching one segment of I think it was Question Time, one of these shows where they have people come on and talk about what they're going through. And there was this one lady who was basically saying, she's going through like cancer treatment right now. So she basically has to have the heating on all the time, and she's not going to be able to afford that. And it seems like the media is just playing into what the government are doing. Nobody in media is like really pushing back, and it's like they want to create this culture of acceptance that this is just the way it's going to be. Everybody's going to suffer, and we all just have to suck it up. And I mean, what do you even say to that? Um, over in Qatar, the World Cup is starting. He's all my beer drinking football fans, they're bad. But it was really comment about the England and world teams, a bit of a hoo-ha. So he said that he was supporting England football and Wales. Now, actually, in this conversation where this was taken, he said, "Oh, I'm just going to support both," and he could have just ended the conversation there, but he rambled on and on and on and on, rambled and mumbled, and was like, "I'm going to support one team for this and one team for that." In the first place, they should have just had him go and visit both the England and the Wales team, because why on earth would you only visit one? Because what happens then if Wales actually wins the World Cup? That's going to be awkward. Oh, someone's saying that my mic is breaking up a bit. Oh, is it still breaking up now? Oh dear. Let me know how it sounds now. If it's breaking up a bit, I might just let the callers come on for a bit, and then I'll go back to talking when it's a little bit more clear. It's breaking up. Okay, you're saying now it's fine. All right. If the internet's being a little bit difficult, I will rush through my slides because I haven't really got that many. And then I'll let you all talk. So actually, the last the last thing that I wanted to say before I start taking calls was news about Harry and Meghan's documentary. Now, please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but has anybody at Archwell ever made a full statement about Harry and Meghan's personal documentary, what platform it's going to be on, who's directing it, exactly what is going to be in it? Because the only thing close to a confirmation that I have heard is what Meghan said in the Variety article about them telling their love story or them telling their story. Aside from that, the only documentary that I ever knew was being made or that had been confirmed was the Invictus one. And also with Harry and Meghan's personal documentary, I don't even think it's been confirmed which platform it's going to be on. Like they're just assuming that it's going to be Netflix, and there's a million different versions of the story in every single British tabloid. And you've got the Daily Mail here. Harry and Meghan's 88 million Netflix documentary series will air next month. I mean, they really don't know how much money they've been given, and certainly they're not going to be giving 88 million just for a documentary series, just for one. It would be multiple different media. And now it's a Netflix documentary. I thought that it was a Netflix reality TV show. So it looks like they're saying next month. Again, no confirmation from Archwell. So as far as I'm concerned, whenever the trailer drops, that's when I would take all of this seriously. But it's left to be seen. Hidley Joseph, I agree, and no one confirms it from Archwell. Exactly. The only thing we do know is that they changed directors. I think that's the only thing that I've read that seems plausible. And also that initially one of the directors wanted to film in their house, but apparently Harry and Meghan said no. But again, a lot of that is just hearsay. We won't know until the documentary comes out. All All right, folks, I'm back. I'm back. All right. Right. Light side of the moon. I will let you go first. Light
Ah,
side.
yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Sorry about that, folks.
No, it's okay. There was like an echo before after you spoke, so I was like wondering what that was. I think it might be okay now.
Yeah, the MI5 like broke into the house. And I I fended them off with my judo in like one swipe.
You've been
I'm
doing
back
too
now.
much lately.
Yeah. Exposing too much.
um, okay, I don't know how much time I have, but guys, please
Uh,
forgive me.
there's only three of you in the back at the moment, so I'll give you five
Okay.
minutes each. 5 minutes each. I'll be generous today.
Okay. Man, I got so fired up with this week's podcast, Archetypes podcast. So I'm gonna start off by just saying a little personal disclaimer, because I know I've called in a couple times and I've spoken up on the calls and everything, but since this is a community that I really respect and I appreciate, I'm just gonna say this, and I hope that it helps at least maybe one other person who's hanging out in the chat to maybe feel a little more comfortable. So full disclosure about me, I'm a very shy person. I'm very introverted and private. And so
Mhm.
for me to come up and to call in and talk, like I kid you, about 90% of the time when I'm calling, my heart's racing and I'm nervous. so
Oh,
so it's not an easy thing for me. This is completely outside of my comfort zone, but I appreciate you guys so much. And when I'm not on the calls, I'm reading through the commentaries and watching a lot of the stuff that you guys are saying, and I just want to tell you guys I value you so much, and I appreciate a lot of the wisdom that a lot of you are bringing into the chat. And
thank
I want to
you.
encourage you that if you ever at some point feel comfortable to call in, please do, because I know that you'll have a lot of good things to say as well. So with that
Thank you
being
so much.
said, yeah, with that being said, I just kind of want to jump in, and since I'm probably down to 4 minutes now, like dive into the nuggets that I pulled out this week. Um, all of the guest speakers and on the archetypes episode this week was amazing, and I listened to it like 3 or 4 times because it took me about that many times to process just Jamila's portion. Right, she had so much in what she was saying, so much empowering um things that she brought up that I had to like literally go back and process each word and statement that she had, and how it applied to my life and the experiences of other women as well. And I really appreciated her being Megan's soldier, because she came out and she just told her how much she respected her, how much she admired her and what she was doing. And I think that was big of her to do because she has a large voice. So some of the nuggets that I pulled out was a couple of the quotes are, one of them that said the reason they go after powerful women who live very public lives is that they're trying to make an example of them. They use them to send a warning to other women to make
Mm,
sure that they don't get the wrong idea in using their own voices. And I'm not quoting it exactly, but that when I heard that, I that could be across so many different career fields. It could be towards any woman that is like in Megan's situation, who's allowing voices for different women to kind of come up and speak, their experiences. Another thing that she mentioned is staying small. I think a lot of us struggle with the idea of us stepping out and like being a big person, taking up the space that we're in. Excuse me, instead of like cowering and maybe like feeling like, oh, maybe we don't want to step on someone's toes, or we don't want to ruffle anyone's feathers, right? In different situations, the idea that our purpose is to serve others, that we are our purpose is to be liked and to be likable, and also the idea that men do not have to contend with this. That just blew my mind completely, because they don't have to deal with the acceptance in certain spaces for trying to come off as being demure, or like not like threatening in certain environments, and not being too much in certain environments. I think whatever or most of the things that they do are pretty much accepted as just being a guy thing or a bro thing. um
mm.
we can't give women the benefit of the doubt because we've spent it all on men already. That blew my mind, and that tied
Yeah, that
into
was a very good quote.
Yeah, and that also tied into the following where she said she made a correlation with the treatment of Mother Earth. We always see Mother Earth as a woman, as the ultimate woman who is here taking care of us, feeding us, supporting us, shielding us. And, she says, always taking and never giving back, expecting her not to fight back.
Mhm.
All of what she said, and I felt it so much from her core that she strongly believed what she was saying was just incredible. It was absolutely incredible. It was powerful, and I hadn't realized that while she was talking, Megan was completely quiet, like, she was listening and absorbing everything, and as I and everyone else probably was as well. She brought up the idea of shame for our bodies, our age, the way we speak, the levels of perfection that's been imposed on us in society. All very strategically engineered to make it harder for us to fight back.
Mhm.
Destructive processes that we've been taught and led to believe by society. They've
Mm.
taught us to hate ourselves, to be a trend, the current beauty trends right now, for example, maybe for the lighter complected sisters out there, being tanned, right? Like you have some kind of like a sun-kissed look on you. I could go in perfect examples of Kardashians, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's kind of like an ethnic look, or to have these unbelievable curves that a lot of us are not born with or
And
have.
did you see that recent article where it was like, "Oh, curves are out and heroin skinny chic is back," and I'm just like, "Well,
Oh, really?
what am I meant to do with my African bum? Like,
Right. And
what am I meant to do?"
And someone needs to tell the chicks who are getting the BBLs about that too, so they could stop wasting their money because as far as I know, curves are still in. So yes, like in the 90s we saw a lot of the I don't know if maybe early 90s or so, but the very thin, skinny women being
Mm,
portrayed. And then that shifted over the years to curves, to having
mm,
thicker lips, sun-kissed skin, small waists, big bums and thighs and stuff like that. So I think, when she said that women being a trend, we're forced to be this trend. I was like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Our
And
bodies
then
aren't trends. Our
right,
bodies are
we're not
human.
we're not trends at all. Exactly. We're humans, we have feelings, we're built differently. And some of us have the curves and some of us don't. Some of us are willing to go to the gym to get it and some of us are not. And that's okay. Um Sharia, oh my gosh, I loved her as an actress. I knew her first as an actress. I had no idea about her activism and how
Mm,
much she had done in her mid 20s back in 1979 against the Rohilla Khomeini Islamic regime. I have a lot of respect for that woman. She's an OG, and someone that I thought was very interesting when I first heard her speak because I was like, this woman has such depth in her voice. It's unusual and outside of the norm of Hollywood,
mm,
but I found her fascinating.
mm,
Um, and then the idea of hope and hopelessness, it's a thin thread that separates that, especially in the realm of the Iranian protests with the young women right now, in Iran
mm,
fighting for their rights and their freedom. And as she said, the hope right now, especially with social media, is that people are seeing this and they do get support. They do have us, even if we're not there fighting for them, spreading the word and getting the word out there so that people know what is going on. But I believe that it could be a double-edged sword in the sense that if some of us are seeing it and if the world is seeing what's happening, at some point, if no one kind of steps in, maybe UN or whoever else, to kind of, have a voice for them or to uplift them a little bit, it can turn to hopelessness very easily. And the last
yeah.
thing I'm going to say is there's so much importance for the multidimensionality of women. We can be activists, we're mothers, we can be soft, feminine, outspoken, respected, honored, a partner, any and everything else that we can imagine and dream of. And, I feel like in accepting that and seeing that, I think we should be able to exist without feeling that that is something that is a threat to someone else. And I don't know if it was
Mhm.
in this podcast or what someone else said, but um, it's not us, it's them. You know, it's not us, it's not us. We are here trying to survive and trying to be the best person that we can. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. And that's all I'm gonna say and jump off so others can
Oh,
speak.
thank you. Thank you so much, Light Side of the Moon, and I think you summed up the whole podcast very, very well. Thank you as always. All right, Valerie, hello.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Anne, how is you? Hope you're feeling much better.
I am, thank you.
Yes. I went to Dubai and I found it very interesting. I met two other women and we were talking about the royal family, and then my daughter chipped in about, young people not really interested in the royal family, especially how Harry and Meghan were treated. And so one was white and one was Asian, and they both said that, well, Meghan knew what she was getting into, blah, 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 blah. And I listened and I said that yes, that may be true, but at the end of the day, you don't have to, she doesn't, there's no need for her to be abused. And
Yeah.
then they were saying that how Harry's a puppet, and I said that, and then they said how Harry's a puppet, and then they were saying that he about him being, I said that, well, I said that you can't say that, because the thing is that he was in the army and he never wanted, he I what I notice now is how you underestimate people, and when you underestimate people, you underestimate that at your great peril. Harry's a trained killer. He was, let's put it this way, he was in the army, he's a trained killer. So there's no way he can be manipulated. And he made a decision, he wanted to leave the royal family. And it's nothing to do, it's only that Meghan made him, do something about it. But he was planning to do it. Excuse me, my nose of it. Also, another thing too,
Well,
people
can I
can learn
also
a lot.
can I also just jump in there, that and that is a very good point. It is to infantilize Harry as a soldier, I think, is so insulting. But also, just because somebody is, has, the training and the mindset of a soldier on the battlefield, doesn't
Mm,
necessarily mean it's easy for them to win on the battlefield at home. And perhaps it's what it took some encouragement from Meghan and what happened in the situation for him to leave that abusive situation. But what I
question.
find so disingenuous is um the way they present perhaps Meghan giving him the strength to leave an abusive situation as Meghan manipulating him.
Yes, and
It's like
that's
they've
another
spun
thing
it.
which I found very very I think. And then when she said, then when the lady who's an Asian lady, she said that how um she talks about peace and how is she talks about, Megan talks about peace and love. How is it that she's not having a relationship with her father? I said there are many cases where when we have abusive relatives, we have to get away from them, because I said even in the story of Esau and his brother, um, the one with the lentil soup, I forgot his name, Jacob, he had to get away with him for 20 something years. So why is
Mm,
it that we must stay in abusive relationship? And then she said that, well, she could have turned it around. She could have, and what I've noticed is, why is it that everybody must turn things around? If something is wrong, it is wrong. And I think that we can learn a lot from Meghan and Harry particularly. And I'm, even when you mentioned that case about that young lady who went on holiday with her friends and she ended up that she died the next day. If
mm,
she had that awareness that these people are not good for her, she would have been alive. And I
mm,
think this is why we have to admire Harry and Meghan, because they know this is not good for me, and they've walked
mhm,
away. And while everybody's hanging on, and I also noticed that all these institutions we're hanging on to, it is killing us, it's destroying us. People hang on to this conservative party, and they're literally destroying,
yeah.
even with the Iranians and the Iranian case where it's this this destroying the people because of how they behave. They've been sanctioned, and also the things, and all these oppressive. India, even in Brazil, where the railforest was being badly destroyed, they got rid of Balacero, and they got rid of the other president, because they realized that if this is killing, it is literally killing them.
Mm,
These institutions, which they're holding on to it.
mm,
And this is another thing too. Sometimes, and I realize why sometimes some older people, they are in, the younger people telling you the truth, and you're still holding on to rubbish.
mhm,
Prince Charles will never be popular because for how he treated his wife. And I don't think, and I think another thing to what people don't seem to realize. When they go and making all these big to-do and getting married in church and putting on thing and telling lies, you're lying. You're not lying to yourself. You're lying to God, and you want God to bless you. And then when things go wrong, and then you're saying, making excuses that, it's traditional thing. It's disgusting. And they're all abusive. It's a disgusting behavior. Having mistresses and you're all lying. I don't care how much money you have, it's disgusting. And men, I mean, we've seen it. All of them, when they had all these mistresses, it literally destroyed them. So I don't know why people want to hang on to things which is destroying them, and they're just lying and constantly lying all the time. That's what I find so depressing, really.
Yeah, it's like why are you hanging on to something that you're right is just wrong? That's a very good question. I think that's something that we need to ask of all royalists. When do you let this fantasy go? Because it's now fully a nightmare. But thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you as always. Rohini, hey.
Hi, Scotties.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh my goodness, this podcast, it wasn't my ultimate favorite, but it's right up there. It's right up there as one of my favorites. I really enjoyed listen, I can't pronounce the woman's name, but I remember her from the Expanse, the activist. I really can't pronounce it here. I'm sorry. I really love listening to her talk about her experiences, excuse me, in activism. And it reminded me of something that I heard about in my country, in Trinidad, back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, the Black Power movement. You saw a large amount of women that were getting high school education, and they were going into institutions, white collar jobs, right? And in order to get these white collar jobs, these women who had money would relax their hair and so forth. But the ones that didn't, they would have did you see hot comb? So then the hot comb became big and so forth. But
to make themselves seem more acceptable to society.
Acceptable, more palatable into these. It was a requirement to have that white appearing hairstyle to work in these institutions. But at the same time, they were getting discrimination from their white male co-workers that didn't like that, one, they were women, and two, that they were Black women coming into their space. And at the same time, you had the people that were fighting for Black acceptance also targeted them. There was actually a practice that, and Black men used to do it, that they would stand by the corner and wait for these women and throw water on them. And you know what happens when you throw water on prostitute, right? So it was like these women were getting it from every side. So you had these Black men that didn't recognize that just by being there, by being smart enough to be in these spaces, that these women were breaking down barriers. They were already doing the job by being competent enough.
Sorry, can I just point out?
Hand,
sorry, Rohini. Sorry, can I just point out, when Black women experience misogyny from within the community, that's usually referred to as misogynoir. It does have a term.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know this at all.
Yes.
So, and these men were supposed to be activists.
Yeah.
These men were supposed to be activists, fighting for Black people. And they would do it because they felt it was an affront to that these women were doing that. They were militant, and they were entering into these spaces. But these women were breaking down barriers just by being competent enough. So there was a young woman who one day got so fed up of both of them that she walked into her job with her afro. And she was and she made her business of going to work every day with her afro. And for her, it was a very big deal because she was a spiritual Baptist, and a spiritual Baptist is a how to put it? It is an Afro-Christian religion, and like Muslim women, they cover their hair all the time. So for her to expose her hair was a big deal. And she walked into the central bank with an afro every single day. And when I heard about that story, I remember feeling so proud of this person. And it was a quiet, activism in the midst of getting it from back and front. And it did make the papers. And slowly after that, you had women that didn't care. And the same activists that were coming against them, they began to the black men, they began to condemn the men that would do that, and because they didn't understand. And it just speaks to, and I remember that story when the lady was speaking about what was happening in Iran and what's been happening in Iran now, that as women, we show up for everybody. And everybody don't always show up for us.
For us.
We show up with the first to the protest.
That's so true. It's amazing. It's interesting that you've told that story because for a completely different reason, I guess, from why the Iranian women are protesting in regards to their hair. But it's amazing in two completely different scenarios and cultures how political hair is for two completely different reasons. But
yeah, and it's really weird that you find that as women, our activism isn't always encouraged, and it's always as if they feel that we are threats to them, when in fact, it is a woman's nature to protect and to fight for. So when we fight for something, we're fighting for something. We're fighting to protect people around us. We're fighting to give a chance. And the thing is, we can't do a lot of the activism that men could do. So whenever we do our version of activism, it's always frowned upon. It's always laughed at until it's successful and until it's impactful. So I really like listening to her and that. But before I wanted to ask you, is it true that the squaddies are planning our own version of Twitter?
The squad are planning their own version of Twitter.
Christopher Mosey. Are we gonna get Twitter first?
Okay, so
Squaddy Land. I have some names. Squaddy Land.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this. But if
I think Crystal put something up in the community tab.
Oh wow! Okay.
And Baron was talking about it. So.
Okay, if that's something they want to do, then I will definitely support it. But I mean, I'm on Instagram. I haven't really jumped on it too much, but I am looking at getting onto Medium because I tried to set up a blog, if you remember, a while ago, and that just didn't go anywhere. So we can all create our own separate avenues, and if the squad want to create something together, like where we can congregate, that's great as well. All right, I think Rohini muted herself, but yeah, that's the first time I'm hearing about that. Thank you, Rohini, and thank you for your comments as well. All right, Melissa.
Oh, hello, hi.
Hi. Welcome to the chat.
Hi. Hello everybody. I have to really agree is what to say. I really found the podcast this week more touching, and it spoke more to me than any other podcast. I'm not saying I've never got anything from the other podcasts I did, but I'm not a mother, so I can't really relate to that. But I understood where she was coming from. But this one, it was just so perfectly said, and intelligently said as well. So yeah, I wanted to say that. And also, I'm not sure maybe if you brought this up in other meetings and maybe I'm late on the train, but this smear campaign about Princess Diana, it's been going on since the Spencer movie, and I think what they do is they deliberately drum up oh my god, they're going to say something bad about Charles, they're going to say something bad, and it's basically a trap. It's to trap you in to actually watching it, and it's almost like how can I explain, it's almost like it's another way of just brainwashing basically. And trying to change your opinion, because I watched The Crown, of course, and I remember there was a part where the Queen of England basically said to Princess Diana, "It's all in your head. We're not black. You know, we're not selling any stories about you. We're not
Gaslighting.
the stories were coming from somewhere." You know what I mean? And you can't really say that she was imagining like her phone being bugged and stuff like that, because stories were getting out, and you got famous tape that that obviously went out. So it's in now Channel 5. They're doing like a demolition job. Or I think they did it last week, didn't watch it. And Channel 4 is also being involved as well. And they're saying the curse of the Spencers. I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to smash the legacy of Princess Diana even more. But you know what's so funny? I think if Prince William really wanted to stand up for his mother, now would be the time, because and now they're talking about mental health issues. Now they're talking about she was ill, she was sick, so on and so forth. First, to my knowledge, to everyone's knowledge, she hasn't been given a diagnosis. Secondly, they said that she was mad because she was in lying about. I'm not lying. She was just envisioning the affair. It turned out to be she was telling the truth. And I think people need to bear in mind, I think when to marry in the royal family, you have to pay, I think, £1 million or something. I think I watched it on a documentary. But at the age of 18,
I've never heard about that.
she was basically sold. Yeah, she, or she was, but yeah, she was sold and stuff. And there was an interview that they both did together. I think the man Cameron said to her, so what is so the interviewer said to Charles, so what is it you find attractive about her, about Princess Diana? This is what he turned around and said. This is a 32-year-old man. He said, you can look it up. And he turned around and said, I found a 16-year-old girl attractive. Like, he found her quite attractive at the age of 16. This is a 32-year-old man. And you wonder, like, I'm not surprised that he was, I'm not surprised that he was hanging out with people like Jimmy Savile and majority of his friends. They're literally outed for having a thing for children, So it's just, and also the Spencers, they haven't come out either to defend their sister.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would. I think they've been muscled.
They have no loyalty. They have no loyalty whatsoever. When she needed a place to stay and so on and so forth, he basically said no. You know what I mean? He has no loyalty. He has more loyalty to the crown than he has to his own sister. So it's just, it's really bad. But no, I really enjoyed this podcast. I think it was great. As always, I wish them nothing but the best, because I think they're going to go on and do great things. And
of course.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and do great things. And it's just, I just find it laughable now how the same family that were picking up the phone and calling Daily Mails and everything else is now the same family that's copying them and trying to follow them. And you know what I mean? I find it that, if somebody made me cry, made my staff feel a certain way, I wouldn't be copying everything that they're doing. It makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. You can tell. I think what also is as well, like, how can I say, Meghan Markle, when she first came in, 3 months into the game, and she made everybody look lazy, and that was the problem. She made everybody look lazy. What I mean, lazy, and that was the problem, because it's like Catherine has been a duchess for nearly 11 years. She ain't done nothing. She's done nothing with that title, absolutely nothing. Her work ethic is absolutely rubbish. Even the Queen of England's got a better work ethic than her. It's just there was many things, and as well, I think because of Harry and Meghan, they're very touchy-feely. They basically shone a light on everything that was wrong with that marriage. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think
Because
just for relationships in general in the royal institution.
yeah.
I mean, it's like the fact that a couple hugging or kissing or showing affection was somehow strange. But thank you so much, Melissa, for your input as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. Joe Blogs, you are going to be the last caller for the day, so go right ahead, hun.
Good evening, Anne. Good evening, squaddies. Hope everybody's okay and you've all had a good week. Oh gosh, I've got so many things going around in my head. First of all,
go right ahead. Go for it. Go for it.
When I listen to archetypes, I fall in love with this woman more and more. She just keeps getting better and better and better, going from strength to strength. And I just hope that when we get to the end of the series, that there are other powerful women lined up to do the next segment. I also believe the other side, I've been listening to our podcast, obviously, and listening to Meghan, because I'm starting to see a bit of a shift. And Meghan is very clever when you observe how she works. She drops little key notes. I remember when she won her case and she said the newspaper has been a daily fail. And then in this week's podcast, she spoke about Stepford Wives. What I find really, really interesting, and I was listening to it today on Baron and all this week, loads of people complaining that, oh, I can't stand this podcast and hearing her voice makes me sick. And I thought, well, okay, why are you listening?
Why are you listening?
Why are you listening? But I realize more and more what's really getting under their skin and grating their goats. She is proving to them that she can do everything they can do and she can do it better. Because when she put on that Cockney accent, I just thought, touche, well done to you, girl, well done. And I just think there are three types of people in life. There are people who make things happen. There are people who wait for things to happen. And then there are people who wonder what happened. And I think our friends over here are the last lot. They're wondering what happened. They're still wondering what happened. And I've said this before, and I don't understand how an institution that's over 1,000 years old can be threatened by one woman coming in. But every day, Meghan continues to prove why they feel threatened. Kate is in a position now where, and I was listening to something this week, Baron played. Somebody was commenting about why Kate is loved by a certain demographic, because she's cute and she's quiet. She says nothing. And I think she's been watching the fallout towards Meghan and thinking, actually, if I sit back quietly and say nothing, they're going to love me more. But I just hope she's paying attention, because her day will come. When I watched The Crown, I could see how they were trying to, at first I thought they were trying to portray Diana in a really negative light. And then I thought, no, hold on a minute. What I think is really going on is there are parts of it that are for people who look at things with their eyes closed and their minds closed. I look at things with my eyes closed, but my mind wide open. What I can see, because Stevie Wonder can see the parallels between what was being done to Diana and what's happening with Meghan now. And I think if you're paying attention, what you're going to be seeing is that the royal family are really going to be revealing themselves, because everybody was all in a panic about what it was going to say and what it was going to show. And I keep thinking, if you've got nothing to worry about, you have no need to panic. You have no need to fear. You have no need to worry about what Meghan and Harry may write or say or speak or do, if you have nothing to be afraid of, if you know you've done nothing wrong. And I think the shifting and the moving that we're seeing happening is because The Crown, the series, at first, it was lovely. So it's a representation of the royal family in some ways, but then when they started to really show what was going on, oh no, it's not fictitious, it's either it is or it isn't, make your mind up. And I think they're now embarrassed themselves because they're seeing that it's showing. Because you have to look at this thing with discernment. And for those who lived through the Diana years, we would know, and I said it before, lots of things I see in The Crown I can relate to when they actually happened in real time. So I know a lot of it isn't fictitious, it's real. It's really, really real. I think they're appealing to the younger generation who may not have been interested in the royal family or even been aware of things. So they will look at it like they look at many things and just dismiss it as, oh, it's just fiction, it's not real, so we'll move on. But I think there's a lot more to come. And I just think, I'm trying to think 10 years down the road, where will we be? Will they still be bleating on about Harry and Meghan? I mean, this couple
I
left
think, I
three
think there are
years
some
ago, and
people, honestly, Joe, I think there are some people who will never get over it. I mean, we were only 3 days into Charles's reign, and he was having a tantrum over a
yeah,
pen. So goodness knows what's going to happen between now and the coronation.
and yeah,
And
and
I do agree with you about the crown. Yes, it was very disappointing in parts of how they portrayed Diana, but yes, there were also other points where they made them look bad, and also things that they
yeah,
alluded to. I mean, even the her brakes getting cut in the car.
yes,
I wasn't
yes,
expect. I mean, they
yes.
didn't really expand on that, but they did show it.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people have watched it and thought, well, we didn't know anything about this tampon gate. And of course, I think I'm also conscious of will be going on behind the scenes is that Charles, in collusion with his mates in the media, they'll be trying to pull all those things offline. So eventually, you won't be able to find those articles anywhere. That it's almost as if it never happened.
Hmm.
Whereas the Crown encapsulates that time period, and it's there for all eternity until they find a way, I don't know, of Netflix disappearing off the face of the earth. So you kind of have to take it with a pinch of salt and apply some discernment because you can't be looking at the window, seeing the sky is blue, and someone saying to you, actually, you're not really seeing a blue sky, it's green. You can clearly see it's blue, but someone saying to you, no, the sky is green, it's this shade of green, it's that shade of green. At some point, common sense must kick in you, even if you look away and look back. You have got to accept that what you're seeing is what you're seeing, not what somebody's telling you that you're seeing.
I don't know if certain parts of the British public for whom the monarchy is so much part of their identity, if they will ever see that um the
That the
if
sky is
they
blue.
yeah, if they'll ever see the sky is blue, because it's just like how much more do these people need to do? How many more pedophiles do they need to be friends with? How many more
Yeah.
mistresses do you want them to have? How much more public money do you want them to take? Um, you know, you, what is it going to take? I
But
mean, if
then,
it hasn't happened at this point, and I know that there is some Republican sentiment in this country, and I'm not taking away
mhm,
from those people who are fighting the good fight, but
mm,
in my day to day, when I'm talking to most people, there just still seems to be, especially when it comes to the Queen, even though she is now gone, just this um just still living in this fantasy la la land.
I think I don't think the shock, even though we were expecting it, I don't think it's really sunk in yet that she's gone. With time, we were really going to see the effects of not having her as a shield. But what I think is the people who hold them up as this standard that they identify with are people who really don't have much else going on in their lives. So it feels really good to say we're British or we're English and we're proud and we've got the Queen, and they're thinking of the good old days, the good old Great Britain, the
But
good old Britannia.
you can be proudly British, as I am proudly English, and proud of your country
Mhm.
without necessarily being a monarchist.
Yeah,
Or otherwise
I'm
Republicans
very
wouldn't
proudly
exist.
British, but the thing is, Anne, they have nothing else to back up their argument,
Mm.
so they throw everything behind this institution, and that is why somebody. I mean, I always say to people, if you've been paying any attention, if you love the family as much as you claim to, you would know, if you're really honest with yourself, you would know that Harry has always wanted out.
Yes, of
There's
course.
never been a question. I think Harry was very strategic in waiting for the right person that would enable him to get that
To leave.
exit out.
Yes.
Because if he had married an English rose, he knew he would have been trapped, so to speak, quote unquote. He knew he had to find somebody that would enable him to have that gateway out. And I think it's like, you're throwing all these stones at Meghan, and we've spoken about this before. When you ask them, okay, so what exactly is it that she's done? Tell me one thing that she has actually done that's caused you to dislike her so much. Oh, she's disrespected the royal family and the British people, but she hasn't disrespected me. But what has she actually said or done to disrespect you? And how do you parallel to the royal family to feel disrespected by what she has allegedly said? There's no explanation. And she's proven time and time again, you've held this institution up. Fair enough, it's yours. You're more than welcome to be proud of it. But here, I've come along. I've been given assigned tasks to do. I've hit the ground running. I've crammed as much as I can. I've gotten on with it, and everything I've put my hand to has been successful. I'm happy to do work. I don't have a problem doing work. Staff aren't used to working with people who will challenge them on, well, okay, let me get to know you. Let me know what you're about. Let me see your job. Let me know. They're not used to that. And that's what all the reaction, because it's not even a response to her being there, it's a reaction. And I often say to people that I hear saying, "Oh, well, we don't. It's nothing to do with her color, because when she first arrived, we liked her. Yes, you liked her because you weren't aware of her ethnicity. The minute you became aware, that became a problem."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, yeah, but you can't keep saying yeah, but yeah, but yeah, but yeah, but. It's like the old oh, Little Britain, yeah, but no, yes, but no, but yeah, but no, but. Give me a real concrete answer to what it is this woman's done. And all she has done is she's just hit the ground running and worked. They're
Yes.
not used to that.
No.
And I just think, this lady that was making the comment about Kate was cute and quiet or something. Baron made a really good point that it's insulting for a 40-year-old woman
Yes.
to be labeled as cute and quiet. That is
Yeah.
insulting. You've
Yeah.
been in this institution 2 decades, and that is all they can talk about you. And I
But
was watching.
it is insulting, but she's not wrong in what she said, because for a
Of course,
certain
she was
group,
absolutely spot on.
for a certain group of demographic, that is
Mm,
exactly why they like her. Because a Kate Middleton type of woman in your day-to-day life, in the normal working office, is not a
mm.
threat to you. But
No,
a
no,
Meghan Markle with a CV from here to China
exactly.
is absolutely a threat.
Proactive,
Yeah.
active worker. Thanks for the reminder, Jen Commonwealth, mute and cute. And I think it's backfiring on Kate because
Mm.
she thought, actually, here along comes this woman who's overshadowing me. So I'm going to be real old fashioned. I'm going to be traditional. I'm going to be quiet. But that is going to bite her on the bum. I'm telling you, I can see it coming, because that's going to be the next one they're going to throw under the bus. And I hope she remembers that the heirs are always, always encouraged to have a mistress. It's always happened, and I hope she knows her day is going to come.
All righty. Thank you so much, Joe Blogs.
Thank you, Anne. Good talking to you.
You too. All right. Right. Let's wrap things up. Thank you everyone for coming up and talking today. As usual, great points made. Thank you again, Alan Penhon, for your second super chat, saying I always look forward to the podcast and all the lovely ladies and gentlemen who support this site. You're all amazing, and you are amazing and always so generous. To Alan. And thank you also to Elaine Parker, who gave a super sticker, to Black Queen, to Light Side of the Moon, and to Legs. And you said, does anyone think that because everyone can see the parallels between Meghan and Diana, that this is exactly why they're trying to erase Diana? Yes. I think it's part of the reason they're trying to erase it. I mean, I think they've been trying to erase Diana and her memory since when ago, right? But I think they're also trying to attack Meghan partly for that reason and all the other reasons we know that they attack Meghan. And Mrs. S said, besides Harry, have you ever heard anyone in that family say that they were happy to be in the military? Harry would have rather be in there facing death than be their prince. Yeah. And what does that say about what does that say about the family? And how he felt about basically being a target for the tabloids. Official Lauren Brown, hello. You said from pet to threat, as the article says. They love you, then hate you when you start to do successful things. Yes. Right. We'll get through the comments, and then before we go, guys, there is something that blew my mind the other day, and I was like, I have to play a game with the Scotties. So let's get through your comments first, and then I will put that on the screen because like this just blew my mind, and I was like, I have to put this on the podcast, even though it's completely and utterly unrelated to the Royals. Right. Tony. Oh, sorry, comments are going by a bit fast. He said, Tony, you said, brilliant, the last speaker. I enjoyed listening to every one of you. Yes, thank you so much. And yes, hit that subscribe button and thumbs up, please. And yes, thank you to the mods as always. Julia, you said, I think Harry's book will speak a lot about Diana and the effects on his life. I think so too. Huggy Mushy said, hello to Anne and the moderators and Global Squaddies. I'm in the background listening. Appreciate you all so much. And we appreciate you too. Appreciate everyone. Claudia Sims, a mute 40-year-old woman. Yeah, it's just sad. It's really sad. But also, I mean, it's effectively what she was required to do when she entered this institution. The problem is that times have changed. The institution has not. So now she's stuck between being a mute for the royalists and the old-fashioned types and trying to be appealing to the I guess the new space of thought where we're in now, where society has moved in and become more modern. And you can't be all things to everyone. And so it's better to just pick one side and stick to it. And I think with Harry and Meghan, they know who their audience is. It's progressive, and that is the direction that they're going in. But I think with those who are still stuck in the firm, they're stuck between being backwards and forwards. And Lewis, Prince William is more about getting the crown. How much time has he spent with his mother's family? That is a good question. Don't see too many pictures with them unless it's literally an event, actually. That's a very good point. Paul Charles, Diana was the most popular royal at the time. That's why they hated her. She was more popular than the Queen. I think she's remained more popular than all of them over the years. Lauren, the callers were excellent. I did not know about the young woman at the beginning. Yes, it's only really gone viral the last couple of days, but I had to talk about it, and please do keep sharing that story. Right, before we go, I have to do this. Squaddies, let's play a game. Where is it? Okay, this photo, right? I want you to guess in the comment section what era this photo is from. And if you know anything about this photo, please do not comment about it. I just want you to guess what era this photo is from. The 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. I want to see if anyone can spot anything interesting about this photo. Or is there anything like weird that you can see about it? Right, a lot of people saying 80s. Some people saying 70s. Not many. Okay, we've got one person. Madison is saying the 90s. Boyd called, you're saying 80s Mad Max era. Yeah, punk. Veronica, you're saying punk era. Denise, okay, you've been more specific, Denise. 1992. Joan Commonwealth is saying punk rock 60s. Church Nelly is actually saying 2022. Well, Church Nelly, you are right. This is 2022, and these people in this picture are not real. This picture was generated by artificial intelligence, and the giveaway is in the fingers, because AI still can't quite get the fingers right. But this was generated by AI, and this is how advanced AI has become. Like, how wild is that? It can literally like generate a picture like this just by entering a command. And I think the artist who made this, what was their name? Hang on a sec, let me just find the name so I give them credit. It was, I think they're called Fallon. Yes, Fallon Fox. That's the artist, Fallon Fox. But how wild is that, guys and dolls? These people do not exist. This is an AI generated photograph. Mental, right? Yeah, Veronica, it's so scary. Like, me and my younger sister, we had like a 2-hour conversation last night about AI and robots and artificial intelligence. Just like wild. All right, that was a game that I wanted to play. I'm done with that. Who wants to give us the last word of the day? And world, was it cookie? Who was it? Was it Cookies and Cream? He said 2022. Yes, this image was generated in 2022. Yeah, John Garcia. Well, that's scary. Official brand, is it using OpenAI? I think so, because I think it must be generated from various different images, right? But I think the command was like 90s black female punk rockers, and this is what the computer spit out. Yeah, Light Side of the Moon, we're in trouble. Can you imagine the implications? Oh, wild. Okay, Rosanna, I will give you the last word of the day. May the Lord bless you all. Yes, may the Lord bless us all. And enjoy your weekend, everyone. I think I'm seeing Black Panther this weekend. I think I am. So you all enjoy your weekend. Alrighty, ciao. Oh, and thank you for playing my game. Ciao.
I know you don't mean to, but you're blocking my view. I know you got issues, but I got my shit too. I don't wanna be your therapy no more, no more. You don't wanna hear this, but it's you, it's not me. Ooh, gotta go and grab a spoon now. Ooh, make a life for myself. Ooh, I don't know what I'ma do now. Ooh, but I don't need your help. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. Don't make me stay, to stay. I'm done being stuck. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. The last thing I will ever do for you is wish you the best of luck. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Catch you on the flip side. Maybe we can be friends when you're not so fragile. When you know yourself well, somewhere down the sweet line. When I do things for me, 'cause I don't wanna be your therapy. I wanna be free, so ooh, gotta go and grab a spoon now. Ooh, make a life for myself. Ooh, I don't know what I'ma do now. Ooh, but I don't need your help. Get out of my way, my way.
sorry we can only come and give words and comfort, but we are thinking about you the whole time, and we really care about what's going on. So
sometimes it's lots more than financial.
Well, if we can give you the odd smile here and there, that's important. So, you know.